technical difficulties.
It's okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. And this is our ish, 9:33-ish. Our ish lasted a little bit longer this morning. We've had some technical difficulties.
But that's the Doodle and Chat way.
It is, absolutely.
Like Dr. Joy doesn't realize that she just fit right in.
Oh, she absolutely did.
She's a natural.
That is correct. That is correct.
I like your shirt.
You know, you also have a really great shirt on, and I know you can't see mine very well, but
I have the best t-shirt maker.
Gosh, I wonder who. We didn't plan it either, so we both just wore it today, and the coffee cup matches, so it's like the perfect day.
That's all. I don't have coffee right now, so I think to plan my Saturdays better.
Oh, I wouldn't be making it on a Saturday morning without the coffee, so not at all. Well, I am super excited this week about our guest. I got to learn, because we do a little bit of research on our guests. I got to learn so much about her, and doodling, chatting today is going to be even so much more fun. So,
yes.
Are we ready to go ahead and introduce?
Let's do this.
All right. So our guest this morning is Lynell Powell, but you all know her by Dr. Joy, a name given to her by her dad. She has a passion to encourage educators to tap into the power of joy and impact every aspect of education. She has served educators and students as an elementary teacher, professional learning specialist, school administrator, educational consultant, and at a teacher's college in the area of curriculum and instruction. She's an author, blogger, and podcaster, sharing her message of joy through her company, Joy Work EDU. We are so excited to welcome Dr. Joy and Doodle and Chat all about her.
Hi.
Yay!
Hey, good morning. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. I know we're like, hello, and then I removed you. I'm like, I'm like, she knows what we're doing.
Yep. I figured it always works out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this Doodle and Chat Friends.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. It just looks like so much fun. And I got your book, Carrie. I saw you post something one day, and I was like, my brain needs this.
Awesome.
So, thank you.
I still owe you a sticker. Stanley needs to still come and visit you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we're sure that you know what you're getting into. If you don't, well, you're here now and you're stuck.
Yeah. Yes.
So we have the bowl that knows with us.
Okay.
Bowl with questions. Do you prefer that we call you Dr. Joy or to go by your is it Lynell?
Oh, Dr. Joy is great.
Okay. So we have special questions just about Dr. Joy in here, and then a few in here that we're not quite sure what they are, so they might be a surprise.
Okay. Uh-oh.
So Mandy and I are going to turn our cameras on so everybody can see what we're drawing, and then
Okay.
Annabeth, who's my daughter, and we're just going to own it. She's our producer.
Okay.
You'll hear her voice. She's going to read the questions out loud. You're going to answer the questions, and we're going to draw and chat all about you.
Wonderful. Sounds like fun.
Okay.
And we do have some weird feedback going on. We're just going to roll with it this morning.
Okay. Sounds good.
You just have one camera on, Dr. Joy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hold on. Let me make sure. Yes. I think I just have everything hooked
That's
up.
way better. Whatever you just did.
Is that better?
I think so. It's okay. We're good.
It is. Yeah, we just have a little bit of feedback going on, but it'll be okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
What is the key to a great self-care shower playlist?
Oh, it's cold to start this off right.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I'm known for my self-care showers in the house. Have you been spying on me? So I'm known so much that my kids have started taking their self-care showers, which is like, my husband's like the water bill. Come on now. But the key to a good self-care shower is that, first of all, you know the words to the song, so you can sing your heart out. Like no one's listening. So I don't ever play new songs in the shower. It's just songs that, whatever mood I'm feeling that day, whatever I need, that's the song I'm going to play. And I'm going to know every single word, and I'm going to feel free, and I'm going to dance. I'm going to be careful because I'm in the shower, but I'm going to be dance, and I'm just going to sing my heart out like no one's listening. And another good thing is just to communicate with everyone. Like everyone knows when it's my self-care shower time, and I don't want to be bothered. Don't come in and ask me any questions. That's like my time. And so I've learned that my kids do that in the morning. We all have different playlists, and it's just really interesting to hear the songs that they connect with that help them get ready. And so those would be my two biggest tips.
Do you have any go-to songs?
Sure. I love The Glamorous Life by Sheila E.
Okay.
I love anything by Nas. He's my favorite hip-hop artist. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, and a lot of their songs when I just feel like I need that encouragement about something, like a project that I'm working on. They always have the right words. I love songs with good lyrics. So, like, they always have really strong lyrics, like you're a shining star no matter who you are, that make you feel just empowered. So, anything by them. So, I'll start with those three, but just so many. I love Jill Scott. She's another one. So, just anything. I love Billy Joel.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I love that idea. Because, music does make you so happy.
Yes.
It just brings you so much joy. So that is also my go-to. Like if I'm down or not feeling good, I'll put some music on, and it always makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mandy, I do wonder, is your volume on your phone on?
I don't think so. And I've got my AirPods plugged in. Can you mute me? Like, can you mute my second phone?
You are muted, yeah. Okay, we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yep.
I wonder if should I try to put headphones on or something? I don't know if that'll work.
If you want to. We said we were gonna try to let it go, but we're not. So
I know, it's hard.
try better. I know she said she takes showers, but I'm just feeling the bathtub.
I love that your family joins in with this too, like that they have this in their plan as well. I love that they do that.
Well, I think when you start doing something and then other people just start doing it, and I think sometimes it gives them permission to do it as well and enjoy it, and another outlet of joy. Sometimes, like they say, joy is contagious. So I think when you do those happy habits and those things that help you, and people see that helping you, then they do it as well. Like I have teenagers, so if I would have told them try this, they would have never done it. But because they see that I'm a much better mom in the morning, and when I have my time, and they see that I'm just a much better mom period when I have my time in the shower and that relaxed time, I think they're like, okay, this might be working.
Agreed. I think sometimes we forget that, as I have teenagers as well, that sometimes just really resisting the urge not to say anything and just show instead can be powerful.
Yes, absolutely.
We ready for another one?
In 40 years, what will people be nostalgic for?
Ooh, this is a random one.
In 40 years, what will people...
Be nostalgic for?
Oh my goodness, this is a good one. Okay, let me think. Wow, these are good questions. Um, I definitely think some music, like we
Yes.
have now, like the music that we stream. There'll be certain artists that people just want to listen to. They may be gone, and but they left such an impact through their words. So I think definitely music. So I think some of the things that we use as conveniences, like for example, for Mother's Day last year, I wanted a popcorn maker because that was nostalgia for me. So I think some conveniences that we use in our homes now, whether it's a juicer or a mixer or some of those appliances that are like real trendy now that people use to eat with. I think there'll be some of those things. I'm trying to think of like air fryers, all those things that we use now that are like conveniences in the kitchen. I think a lot of those will be nostalgic for sure. Maybe some of the things that we do outside for recreation. For me, when I was growing up, we had a lot of parades and cultural parades in New York. So we'd have like the Puerto Rican parade. And you know what I mean? So I think some of those cultural things that we do outside will be nostalgic because people will find other ways of recreation. So definitely for sure things like that. Just some of our conveniences, and I wonder where like shopping where that will go. Like I went into and it's closed down recently, but about 2 months ago I actually went into a Dillard's at a mall that's near me, and that felt very nostalgic to be in a Dillard's and try on clothes in a dressing room, and they had like a chair where my daughter could sit down while I was so that was like wow, because I did that with my mom at a Hess like 40 years ago, and so I wonder what shopping will be like. I think some of those ways that we buy clothes and stuff will be very nostalgic as well, and I think we'll miss some of the things that we do. So those are the three things that I relate to right away.
I like
clothes, food, and music.
Sounds like all the perfect things.
Yes, exactly.
God, my cassette tape needs work. That's okay. I'm just making it worse. Ready for another one? You ready, Mandy?
Yes. I had to get my dollar sign on my shirt.
Oh, that's a good idea for the shopping.
Yeah.
Okay. In your blog post, Discovering Joy, 10 Lessons Learned, you write, you'd be surprised by how much we live for others and how difficult it is to shift. Why is this important for us to understand?
Oh man, because I don't think I really started to experience joy until I had enough courage to just make my own decisions without always thinking about what someone else was thinking or what made someone else feel better. Like I realized there's no way that you can be happy if you're always looking for affirmation or thinking about, well, what is this person going to think? It was little things. I always go back to this example as an administrator of wanting to have like 20 minutes of my own time to have lunch. I just needed that time to shut everything out. And because you can be in a culture where like everybody's working through their lunch, so you won't do it, even though you need that time for your joy. So it just was like being courageous in small decisions in life just helped me out a lot. It just changed my life and the amount of joy that I feel. Being able to express how you feel and not think 18 times over if you said the right thing. Being able to send an email out without reading it 1,000 times. Life is too short to waste it on always second guessing yourself. And so that is what I mean. We have to have more courage and just really choose our own joy, and everyone's joy is different. And if we're trying to live through the lens of someone else's joy, we won't be happy. And so that was something that was one of my lessons that I've learned over the last several years on this joy work journey that I'm on.
I love that. And I will tell you that I was selfish when I picked out that question for you. Because I feel like, we go through different waves in our lives. And right
Yes.
now I'm at that season, I guess you could call, of our lives where my father is in an assisted living home, and it adds a whole level of dynamics when it comes to your siblings and expectations for what you need to do for your parents, and then you have your own children at home. And it's really hard to put yourself first when it comes to those kind of things. And it's really, really a struggle, But
and there's 7 of us, so I definitely understand. Like, there's 7 siblings. We have 7 of us, and my mom and dad are still, here. Blessed. I'm so blessed for that. But even with them and how I raised my family and how they raised us, and even some of their expectations now, so it's like really like just being happy in your own little circle. And I always say I'm just minding my own little joyful business, and then learning how to respect others. I think that's the one thing that is hard. Like, you start to create boundaries, but then you also have to know that other people are going to put boundaries up too. And so and when you have a big family, it's like, okay, I create these boundaries, I'm happy, but then it comes up on you and you're like, oh yeah, that's the other side of it. So
yes, agreed. But I do like, when you answered the question originally, because I also feel like I picked this question because I think educators fall into this a lot. I'm going to put somebody else first before, me in my classroom. And I do like that, just that one little thing about the lunchtime. And I will say that I did the same thing, probably too late in my career, but because I used to be like, oh yeah, I can eat during lunch, because it meant that I didn't eat during my classes. And I realized I needed my lunch. And so I started being intentional, like, I can't meet, this is my lunchtime. And it wasn't, you're right, people will push back on that boundary at first, but once they just know that that's just the way Dr. Joy is, or that's the way Carrie is, they have their lunchtime, then they start to get used to it, and the world works around it still. Life goes on. People make adjustments,
Absolutely. Yes.
So in your experience, because you've had a really wide variety of experiences in education, besides that small little, like, taking the time for yourself and lunch, are there any other places that you feel like educators can do tiny things to just make sure they're paying attention to themselves?
I think for me, just learning that I can choose my path professionally. I had different ideas of what I wanted professionally for myself, and that I could get that development and make those connections. A lot of educators that I talk to, they're even afraid to sometimes blog or be on a podcast, because what if this doesn't align with my district, or what if someone hears me, what if they don't support me? And I heard that a lot, like when I was an administrator and I would blog, like, how do you have time to do this is your life, like, how do you have time to even blog about this when you have all these responsibilities to do? And it's like you finding your own way and finding your own balance, and have the courage to guide your professional life. There is no one way. There isn't this. What I was always taught was, well, you do this for 3 years, then you meet people, you build relationships, then they take you to this path, and they guide you, and they groom you for this. And that really wasn't the path that worked for me. It was that we have the power to have ownership over our professional choices, and that there's a lot out there, and that there's no one way to do it. And you might get into something professionally and realize that, well, maybe it's something else I want to do, or you also have a lot to add through your experience, through your gifts, through your passions, just your passions alone. If there's something that you are passionate about, that you have the power and the agency to be able to go and speak about those things or create something. Joy to me was really about doing more creating and less trying to sort of align with everyone else's ideas. So that for me changed a lot professionally. And I'm still working to sort of strengthen my voice, and social media has helped me a lot with that. And just little by little learning ways to strengthen my voice. And I remember someone told me once, don't look to the left, don't look to the right, look straight forward, and that's helped me out a lot too, because if you're always looking around, you try to make your voice sound like other people's voices. And so I work on that constantly, and I haven't mastered it yet, of course, but I constantly work on strengthening my own voice, what comes from my heart, and putting it out there, and like I said, it's not always that I have it mastered, but it's something that I work on all the time, being me, being authentic, I'm just really speaking from my heart, my interests. Like, this is me, not what someone else wants to hear. Not even being forced to get into topics that I don't want to get into, or conversations that I don't want to get into, or people that I don't want to talk to. I always kind of start saying, I'm grown. Like, I can do, you can make your choices or not talk to this person, but we're grown. And so, that's a part of joy, recognizing that you're grown.
I like that so much. So much of what you said also resonates with me, and I'm sure it does with Mandy too, because I don't think any of us are really new to this space, the social media world and things like that. But I feel like it's a constant journey to make sure you're staying true to yourself, and the message that you want to share, that you want to share, is the one that you share, and that you're right. It's a struggle because it feels very competitive.
Yes.
You want to work both ways, but I think, where you want to make sure you're heard, that people know you. But I think having a smaller group of people hearing you and you're staying true to yourself is significantly more valuable than having a lot more people hear you and you're not really doing what you love.
Yeah, and I think about, like, if someone sends me a message or they email me or they say, your blog really touched me, because that means a lot more than if somebody just likes it and I know they've never read it, or they on social media they retweet it, and I know I just put this out there. Unless you're a speed reader, I don't know how you read it that fast. So it really means a lot to me when someone says, "Oh, thanks for sharing. I'm gonna read that later," and they appreciate my work so much that they actually do read it and then come back and say something about it. And it's like these unique conversations, and you'll also find that there's these unique, beautiful opportunities that are everywhere. Like, there's just people like this Doodle Chat. When my friend saw this on social media, she was like, oh my god, that looks so cool. Like, there's so many unique things out there. I said, I know. Like, who thought that these two beautiful women would come up with this idea of doodling and chatting, and it's going to connect with someone. And I'm just so honored to do this unique opportunity. This aligns with something that I like to do. And so it's really neat when those things align and you don't feel like you have to be a part of things that you don't really truly want to be a part of in your heart. There's things and people and opportunities and places that will align, and you just have to have the courage to wait for those things.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like she just spoke to our hearts, Mandy,
She
right?
did. She did.
Yeah, because Mandy and I are pretty steady with this Doodle and Chat, and we have our community of people, and I feel like you can relate to this too. You always hope that it's going to reach more people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we just had this conversation, I think last week after we got off the air, and we're just like, what can we do to spread our word more, to make people more aware of the things that we're doing? Because we're equally passionate about this, what we're doing, as you are about spreading joy. And it came down to exactly what you just said. We have our mission, we know what our focus is, and we just need to keep, streaming, just doing our thing.
Yep, keep going.
And the rest of the world will come around when it's ready,
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I'm having a moment. I need to soak this all in right now. I'm feeling a little bit emotional, but in a good way.
Yes, that's yeah.
That's why I was just checking.
I think it's an emotional journey. Joy Work, I think it's an emotional journey.
Yes.
I really do.
I agree with you.
Okay, next question is, what makes you feel old when you think about it?
What makes me feel old? Oh man, I tell you what makes me feel old. That I remember when I was 16 and my mom was my age. like that. My daughter's 16, and I remember, like, man, it just seemed like yesterday I was 16 and my mom was 46. And so that just makes me feel like my kids. They make me feel like life is just moving by. Or like my husband and I, when we met, how much we used to rush to rent new videos at Blockbuster. Like, because we knew they only had a certain amount. And so we used to like rush to, we knew we had to be there on Friday at this time so we can get a copy of the video. So some of those things, my kids, when we're talking about music, some songs that they think are original.
Oh,
And I'm like, no, that they're like, oh, he's not the one that, and I'm like, no, or, they tell me how my music is irrelevant. Like, I love hip hop, but I love, like I said, Nas is one of my favorite, but he's like my age. And so my kids are like, Mom, like, he's not, they don't connect to the messages that I like to talk deeply about in the music sometimes. It's like, it's too much for them. They're like, this is too much of a conversation. Like, it's just a song. With me, I'm just like, want to connect it to, so I think my brain sometimes makes me feel older because everyone moves so quickly, and I always want to reflect and like go a little deeper. So.
yes, agreed. I would think I was making dinner last night, and I was talking to my children about how happy I am about how well we get along, and I reflected on the moment. I was like, man, I was not nice to my mom when I was your guys' age. There were things she made me do, and she wouldn't listen to me because I didn't want to do them, and she still made me do them. And I was relentless. It's just, you're right. It's different, right? When you reflect, like, I didn't make that connection. I was like, wow, my mom was this age when that happened.
Yes. And I have more fears, like little fears that I didn't have. Like, we were at the beach. I spent a lot of time at the beach. But I used to actually like to get in the water and boogie board. And like yesterday, my husband was trying to convince me why a shark wouldn't eat me first. And I was like, because little fears creep in sometimes that I didn't have before. Like, I can't see what's beneath me, and all this stuff. And I used to love to just, I still love the beach, but I used to like the boogie board, and just, I didn't think about it. But now it's like, I can't see what's beneath me, or I have these little fears that creep in.
I think that is completely true. So, for me, it happened after I had children that, like, I used to love roller coasters, like, love to ride roller coasters. And now, like, I don't know if it's just my body can't handle it or if there's that fear, like, I have to be here for my children. And it was after I had kids that I just couldn't ride roller coasters anymore.
Yeah,
So I agree.
definitely.
And I can totally relate to that comment. So there's kind of a joke in my family because for the longest time, people would ask me how old my mom was. And I'm like, oh, she's 27. And like when I turned 30, I was like, I still think of my mom as 27. And I'm already past that age. And so I completely relate to that too, because I always think of my mom younger than she is. Um, and I think probably our kids do the same thing with us. But yeah, thinking about when my mom was my age, how many grandkids she had and all those different things. And I'm like, oh man.
And it's like seeing your parents get slower. Like, I was always used to my mom having so much energy, but now it's like, wait, she's slow. She's not as fast as she used to be.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
But
What are 3 things that make a great long walk?
Say a great wall. Say that again.
Long walk.
Oh, music. I love long walks. I think definitely music. I think speaking to people, like just say hi and say nice things to people. I try to do that when I'm on long walks. Just speak to random people. And I think not like your purpose for a walk. You don't have to always have like miles in mind or a destination in mind. Like you can go different places. It doesn't have to be like, let me set my watch and make it to here. It's like you can just try different routes. So I think that's the thing. I like talking to people, but I also like talking to their dogs. So I think just in my neighborhood, there's a lot of dogs, and so I like seeing people just walk their dogs, and so I think those are. I think animals make great walks too. They add to the walk.
I love that.
Hmm.
So do you have a dog?
I do. I do. I have a boxer. Her name is Khadijah. We had two. One passed. So now we just have Khadijah, and she's just like the best. You know, boxers are like, I'm a part of your family. You know, they're definitely like those type of dogs. So it's always an adventure walking with her.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's high energy, so we have to take her a couple times a day. But you know, it helps because like anything, dogs keep you on a schedule because you have to get up. You have to get up and walk them. Or, you know, with a boxer, they're going to mess up your yard. So you can't just put them out, you know, and you have to get up, walk them, let them get their exercise because they definitely need it.
Very true. Now, I can't say that with my dog because she's super old and very blind.
Hmm.
And so she does not like to go on walks anymore because she doesn't know where she's going.
Oh, yeah.
But when she was younger, she was like that. And so now we
Hmm.
appreciate other people's animals when we're out for a walk as well. We do the
Yeah.
same thing. Love to talk to the dogs.
Hmm.
More music. All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Random questions are okay. Name 4 people who have made the most positive impacts on your life.
Oh, wow. Well, I would say my husband for sure. He's like, you know, definitely just a big supporter, my accountability person for sure. Accountability is definitely a big piece. And my children, I have two, so that's 3 people. And I would say, oh, man, it's hard because like between my mom and dad, I'm gonna say they're one person.
I like it.
It's because they really are. But you know, they kind of gave me this nickname Joy, and I never knew that how much it was gonna impact my life, and that was a name given to me when I was, you know, when I was born, and I just never knew how much it was gonna impact my life and how much they hold me to that, and how much they remind me to value myself, to know my value. They've always been like that since I was, you know, young. If they ever said anything, it was know your value. Like when growing up, if I didn't get a job, you know, when I was young, or if something didn't go right in school, or even, you know, when I was trying to balance working and being a new mom, and you know, that was just always consistent message to me. You know, my mom's not like the most huggy feely person. She's like they're like the New Yorkers. If you ever, they are like the poster for New Yorkers, but they just, what they say is always so strong, and they're just always there for you. And it's like I can call them at any time, and if they don't pick up their phone right away, you know, I know they're going to pick up the phone. Or if I go see them, no matter how much I try to hide, my mom's like, let me see your eyes, what's going on? You know, so it's just having those people in your life that just love you and are there for you. So those would be the main 4. My family that I was born into, and then the one that I created with my husband.
I love that. Yeah, let's keep going.
Why can how we choose to respond make all the difference?
Oh, because it's like it's in your control. And, when you think about some ways you respond, it's like, in your mind, it's not good.
Yes.
Even if it's right. And we say that about kids and raising kids, like when you're going out the house in the morning, the goal is for everybody to get out the house happily and have a good day. And so if you keep that in mind, like your response is, okay, the goal is that everyone's gonna have a good day today, and we want them to leave in good spirits. You're able to let some things go. Like, I'm not a morning person sometimes, and I know my kids are not morning people, and so me asking them a whole bunch of questions in the morning, it's not gonna help me reach that goal of everyone having a good day. And so I think about what you want, like what it is that you really want, and your responses should really mirror what you want. And I think that's hard because sometimes we just want to say something or get it out or do something. I remember one time recently, my daughter got this grade, or she told us she was doing something in school, but the grade was different. And my husband said, well, don't talk about it this morning. We'll talk about it together when you get home. And so I couldn't help myself. So in the morning I said, so how's so-and-so? How's your so-and-so class? She said, okay. I said, are you sure it's okay? Because this, and then I just kept going and going. And you can imagine how that just unraveled. And then my husband said, I told you we would talk about it together when we got home, because you know what's going to happen. And so I think sometimes, just even if you think you're right, even if you think you have a right to respond a certain way, just really reflecting on how you do it and really asking yourself, is this really going to get me what I want? What, is this going to end up being meaningful? Is it going to bring me more joy? Is it going to add to my joy? Ask those type of questions in relationship to your joy when you think about how you respond to people or circumstances. Because at the end of the day, it's about you being able to sustain your joy. And if how you respond is not going to allow you to do that, then we have to work to switch the responses.
I like that a lot. And that does, I mean, I know you know this, it comes right from your children's book that you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about that too, and that's also goes into a lot of the work I think we do as educators, even more than we used to, is making sure our students are regulated.
Yes.
And because when they are, then we can think, and it's not any different for teachers either. We have to be able to have our calm, so that we can take a moment to think when we're communicating with each other, so that we can, like you said, instead of thinking about what you're going to say, what's your goal and how can I get there, and then also what you add to it, which I love, is how can you also maintain your joy while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. With the back to zero, it was like, as an administrator, I was, you're always dealing with discipline issues. And so teachers would call, or, or parents would come up, and it was really evident that how I responded, either that parent was walking out really upset with me, and nothing was resolved, and a phone call was being made to central office, or that parent felt good. And I remember when I first became an administrator, I messed up a lot. And my principal said to me, you have to make people feel that you're listening. And that's what you need. That's your job. And that changed, And she would always have to clean up after me, because I would upset a parent, and then she would have to come by, and I would watch her, and they would just like walk out like they were going to have coffee together. And I was like, how does she do that? She's like, I just listen. I just let them know that I'm listening. And so even though I may have known the answer, or thought that their child was wrong, or that I had something to say, it wasn't helping the situation. And the same thing with when I used to have to go de-escalate things in the classroom, I would always see from the outside that the teacher was upset, because I would get a referral with like exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I was like, okay, that's coming from a feeling, not, so let's step back. And so being able to reflect on that, and a lot of self-awareness. Joy has so much to do with self-awareness. And so, yeah, definitely, that's the connection I made with that book and Joy.
I like
and
that.
how we respond to kids.
I like that a lot. Let's keep going.
I was saying, and as she pulls another one, I'm filing all of these away because I'm stepping into a new role as an administrator. I'm like, So make sure that they feel like you've heard them. I get it. Okay. Check. I'm gonna put that in my toolbox.
Yes. You know, my one of my superintendents used to say, what, like, you need to put on your I'm listening face. You need to actually practice it, because sometimes our eyes, it's only, like they said, 7% of the words that are coming out of our mouth. Everything else are the gestures, the eyes. So if you're like, I hear what you're saying, but, right away it's like, do you really hear? Or calm down. It's like, okay, but you're using that voice, that level of voice. What you're saying is not matching the intensity of your voice. So it was all those things that were mismatched in our communication, for sure. It was my first, like, big lesson as an administrator.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely a gift. I feel like administrators, from just the teacher side, the ones that are just really gifted at listening, even though they might know what they need, the answer to need, that are just really gifted in listening the right amount to the right teacher. Like,
Yes.
my administrator just needs to listen to me long enough for me to say, oh, well, this is what I need to do. And then he'll go, and then there's other teachers that might need to go back and forth. So you also just have to you have to be really patient. Like, it's hard when you think you know the answer, or you know what needs to happen to a child, or what discipline they need. But you're right. Like, when I work with my teaching assistants, I know what happened most of the time. I know what needs to happen, but they need to tell me what happened. Because if they don't, then they don't feel like I'm valuing them as an adult and I'm just taking the student side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, listening it's a hard skill to master, I feel.
Yes, absolutely. And then sometimes just being able to, like, summarize what people say so that you can clarify what they're saying and that you're actually hearing them right.
Like
and so that's important. That's important too. Just sitting there and being able to actually hear what they're saying. Sometimes writing stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
While you're talking to, like, somebody on the phone, or old school, just writing it down, because you need to be able to use.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I would say it's a trick, but really it is. I genuinely do mean it, as I love to grab that. I got to get my piece of paper and my pen first, and I sit down with my students, especially when they need to, like, de-escalate. Now tell me everything that happened, and some of it's for me, right? But really, I think I learned it from another teacher. It just makes kids feel so heard when they know you are hearing everything that they're saying, even if the consequence is going to go the other direction. There's just something. You're right. It's just about listening.
Yes.
And I also like the what I hear you say is, and then it gives them the opportunity to either correct you and say, no, that's not what I was saying, because that happens sometimes. We hear from our lens. And sometimes what they're telling you and what you're hearing are not the same thing. And so just saying, here's what I heard, and they can say yes or no. And I think that adds that level of being heard and understood.
Yes, absolutely. I honestly think that as well. Just everybody wants to be heard, even if their feelings, we don't understand what they're saying, or we don't agree. It's just giving them the opportunity, because we're all looking from a different lens. So I think just giving them the opportunity, and being patient and allowing them to express it, even if the words don't sound right or they sound offensive to us. Sometimes it's just allow them to get it out, and remember what I always have to remember now with kids. It's like, someone told me this once: they're not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. Same thing with adults. They're not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. And of course, this process was years of me going through things, not only as an administrator, but with my own kids. And so, that piece I kind of keep in mind a lot when I'm just interacting with people in general. Sometimes we're just having a hard time.
That flips everything, right? It just, I wish I would have had that like years ago when my oldest child was having a lot of struggles. It would have helped my husband. They're not giving you a hard time, you're having a hard time. I also feel like that can help with staff that we work with. It just, when you hear it in that phrase, you kind of have to step back and you're like, oh, you mean it's not about me?
Yes. Yes. You just take everything so personally with parents, interacting with parents who just love their kids and just want to be able to get through a work day. And I was that parent. And so it's like, and when you have to have difficult conversations, it's hard. And the words that we use to even talk about other people can trigger someone. It could be one word that you say and they don't hear anything else you say because they heard this one thing that they were offended by, or that hurt them, or that made them angry, and you can't get past that. And so many times we do that in our communications, like we can't get past that.
Yeah, it's tough. Those are
And I
tough.
know that's for me. Like there's some things that, I'm like, well, here's my file of words that were said to me over the last. With my husband, I always joke around like, remember when you said this when we were at Blockbuster 20 years ago?
Oh, I'm the same way. I have Mandy and I were actually talking about a sibling that I have, and there's other things too, but there's times where it's like, oof. I tell people I'm pretty laid back and I'm just going and I'll move forward, but in that little pile back there,
Yes.
still there, I can move forward with you and everything can be okay, but for whatever reason I'm with you. There's a file.
Yes, yes. Whew. We're only human.
You're right. We are only human.
Mhm.
We are. Should we do one more?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are the best and hardest parts of being a mother?
Oh wow, a lot of mothering questions. They get me all emotional. The best part I think is that you were just given this opportunity to make the world better through your kids. Like they can, you have this knowledge that you have. Like every generation, I think, just increases on their in knowledge, and understanding of the world. And you have this opportunity to do it different, and to just guide them and see the world, and just have more hope. I mean, I don't know if that sounds corny, but for me, through my kids, it's like hope. That's like to me the best part. Hope for a better world. Hope for watching these kids just not be limited in the dreams. And now I have more knowledge that I can give this to them, and they'll have more knowledge that they can give to their kids. And it's the love too, like the love that is just like surrounds you, and the love languages that are simple, like if your son says, "Mom, you good?" Like somebody loved you that much that they just stopped what they were doing and looked at your face and said, "You good?" And it's like that just deep love that you have that you don't really experience with everyone every day. So it's that deep love and hope. I think the hardest thing is that they're their own people,
Oh, yes.
and you have to adjust to the fact that you raise them, but they still are their own people, and you never know what they're gonna come up with. And then I think it's the fear part. I don't think there's one. I mean, even if they're walking down the street. Yesterday, my daughter was walking home from work, and she literally works at the restaurant down the street, but it's at night. And I'm like, well, we'll pick you up. And on our way to pick her up, she was already walking. And I'm just like, we said we would pick you up. Like I was so upset that that she didn't listen, and that she just, and I was fearful, and I was probably really really fearful because I'm listening to everything that's going on in the world. And I'm like, I don't care if it's 2 minutes from the house. It's dark and this. And so I think that fear part is something that I struggle with my kids. It's just feeling like when everyone's home and they get home and they're in the house and you're like, okay, let's go for another day. So it's that piece that I don't, it's just that's the hardest thing for me, is kind of letting go of some of those fears that I have that something will happen to one of your kids.
It's a lot.
And how would you move on? Like, how would you live if something I'm sorry that this is supposed to be about joy, but you asked
No,
what.
it's okay. No, and I'm really happy that you said that, and then you laughed about it. But you said that because when I originally wrote that question, I was just going to say, "What's the best part of being a mother?"
Yeah.
But I felt like if I didn't say the worst, it wasn't going to capture everything that you are, and you do find value in the life experiences that we've had, the good and the ugly, because that's where the joy and the learning comes from. And you've
Yes.
always, and from what I've read about from your writing, both of those things are equally as equal importance, and I wanted to give importance to that too. I didn't want to just shine that motherhood shiny, because you don't do that with for life. I'm not saying like you're a super negative person, but you find value in both parts of life. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. Um, and it's true. Like you feel like your journey is so wonderful, but it's difficult too. Like I wouldn't be, it's difficult. It's hard every single day to sustain your joy. It's like a thought, like I'm gonna be joyful today. It just doesn't happen automatically. Like it is such work, which is why I talk about joy work, because it's just work every single day to choose that I'm gonna sustain my happiness, and I know that I'm gonna have to let go of some of these things. But in your mind, it's like a constant struggle.
I love it.
I do too.
And you spoke to that fear, and I was so glad that Carrie put that in there. That is something that I have to work on with my children. Now, my children are all grown. My youngest one is 20,
Mhm.
still lives in my house, but he just left for New York
Mm.
on Thursday. And this is the second time that he's traveled to New York. He has a friend that lives there. And the first time he left, I was like, text me when you land,
Mhm.
text me anytime you're going to go out. And this time I just said, have a good time.
Mm.
So I am trying to let go. And I have asked his siblings, have you heard from him? Has he said anything? But I am trying not to push that off into him and just let him experience this without having to check in with mom all the time.
Yeah, see, that's hard.
It is very hard. Yes.
Yeah. It's like just check in, just send me a text, let me know that you made it,
Let me
or
know you're alive. That's
yes,
all I say. Just let me know you're alive. Proof of life, please. Proof of life.
yes.
Yeah, I
And
get it. I
and I
do.
try not to tell the stories like my dad would say, but I'm like, but I remember some of those stories to this day that my dad told me that scared me,
Yep.
and I would say that some of them saved me. So, but I try not to like tell my kids too many horror stories, but I probably have to work on that a little harder.
I get it.
It's a balance.
That was how we were raised.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's zoom in on each of our doodles and
Yes.
chats about Dr. Joy.
Okay.
And I'm going to rest my cheeks from smiling.
Oh, I love that. This is so neat.
Right, there we go. I was trying to hide my
All about you.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, I like the footsteps.
Yep.
Oh,
I have so many
wow.
visuals swimming around in my head that I'm going to just hang on to from this conversation.
Hmm. Oh, wow. These are really neat. That's so cool.
And we'll share these out on Twitter and Instagram, so you can save them if you like.
Wow, this is so neat. I love them. This is really neat.
Awesome. We're so happy that you were with us today.
Yes, this
And
is
shared your joy with us. Like, I love hearing about your process of joy. Um, it's something that I try to work on
Mm-hmm.
because I tend to be a pessimistic person. And you are correct. Joy is work. You have to work to find your joy. And that's something that I learned later in life. And so
Yes.
I am so glad that you share that message. I think it's very important.
Thank you. Thank you. It was just such a pleasure. This really filled my bucket just being here this morning. Through whatever, little issues, but I just really appreciate this was a lot of fun. And I love seeing people just live their passions and do really neat things from the heart and create. It's just like it brings me a lot of joy to see different things and the way people sort of take agency over their joy and try new things and bring people in and community. And I love this. I love this doodle chat.
Oh, thank you so much. So friends, if you were here with us and you doodled and chatted along, or you're joining us later, please be sure to snap a picture of your doodle and chat and share it out on Twitter using hashtag doodle and chat or Instagram, so we can see all the fun that we have here every Saturday morning at 9:33ish Central Standard Time. And then be sure to join us back here next Saturday. I don't remember the date, but it'll be August, and it'll be the first Saturday. So that means we're doing our one-pager doodle and chat classy activity, which is going to be great for the beginning of the school year. And we'll see everybody next Saturday. Thank you again, Dr. Joy.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.